Hey guys, Helen Hartsmith here again from the Heart of the Witch's Path YouTube channel. I hope everyone has had a safe and happy Labor Day weekend. The end of the summer season is officially upon us, even though it's warm here, as you can tell. Sporting the tank top, it's still a summer-like weather at the very least. So I'm coming to you today with a book review. In case you follow me on Instagram, I kind of let the cat out of the bag, so to speak, as to the next book review I would be doing. And well, here I am. I finally finished this book, The Magical Art of Crafting Charm Bags, 100 Mystical Formulas for Success, Love, Wealth, and Well-Being. I'm going to try to say the author's name, and I hope that I'm close because I really don't know. I believe it's Elohim Lifar. Elohim. I hope I'm right. If not, let me know because, and I'm sorry. So anyhow, I got this book last year for Yule. I'm pretty sure I've talked about this book quite extensively. This is from Wiser Books. It's a 2017 release. It's about 230-ish pages, chock full of some wonderful information. I had seen a couple of other YouTubers, including I know that I watched the review from Ember Honeyraven, and she seemed to enjoy the book quite a bit, and I have to say that I did too. I'm very impressed by this book. I was excited to when I first heard about it. The author, Elohim, and we follow each other on Instagram, so I'll try to remember to put a link to his Instagram account. I should give a little bit of information about him. He's originally from South America. I don't remember exactly which country, and he is a shaman, and he currently resides in New York City, and his Instagram is quite a fun account. He does a lot of walks through the cities and shares pictures of his day and things like that. So it's a very joyful Instagram in case you're looking for something to follow. He also shares some really inspiring quotes and things like that. So I really enjoy his Instagram account. But let's talk about the book. So he starts, first of all, the foreword is by none other than Mr. Devin Hunter, and Devin is an exciting author. I've got a couple of his books on the stack to read that I just haven't made it to yet, but his books are called, The Power of the Witch, or The Witch's Power, and The Spirit of the Witch, I think. I'll put links to those books down below too. He is part of the fairy tradition, I believe, and he's a really, like I said, he's a really exciting new author on the scene, and I've met him at Convocation, and he seems like a really cool dude, so he's someone interesting to check out too. But anyhow, we start off the book by talking about the magic circle. And different ways that you can lay out the circle, either by casting a ring of salt or using rope to consecrate and bless, and use that to form your border of your circle. Elohim is very much all about having a physical representation of the circle for his work, which that's different from my practice. We just generally use energetic circles that we visualize, but to each his own. That's completely fine. And then he goes into talking about altar setup and pentagrams and things like that. So that's good if you're a new person and you've never cast a circle before or laid out an altar before. That's some helpful information. Next, he talks about enchanted objects like witches' talismans and how you can go about making them and preparing them. So I thought that was really interesting. He talks about incense, like what are good incenses to use during the ritual of crafting and consecrating your charm bag. So that is, again, good information. And then he gets into the meat and starts talking about charm bags and making them. What is a charm bag? That's awesome. The power of charm bags. If you're hearing that, the squirrels are going spastic in the yard right now. Maybe they like this book too. Who knows? Charm bags and what was that? Charm bags and conventional spells. So again, very good information there, especially if you've never crafted a charm bag before or if you're relatively new. Then he talks about the actual crafting and consecrating. So that's interesting. What phases of the moon you'd want to use for what kind of charm bags. That is important in his practice. The atmosphere and mood. And he also has a couple of consecration rituals that he goes into. One thing that I have to say about Elohim's practice is that he is very regimented, I guess is a word that I want to use. He very much says that you should cast a circle, that you should have an altar set up, that you should have a ritual for crafting a charm bag. And I think that there's value to that, but I also think that on the other hand too, there are times when we may need a charm bag and we kind of need it fast. And so I think there's value in and what do I want to say? I think that you can effectively craft something quickly as well. So he has a full consecration ritual, and then he also has a short consecration ritual. So those I found quite interesting. Then he starts getting into the correspondence things. He has extensive chapters on color, using color in charm bags for your bags or the cloth that you're using to make the charm bags. He has a chapter on plants and herbs and what to use them for. So again, if you're new to spell work or charm bags, same thing, I think. It's a good reference because there's quite extensive lists. And then he moves into gems and stones. Again, good information there, especially if you don't have any experience. And if you do have experience, then of course you can use your own correspondence lists to put together charm bags. Then he even talks about using essential oils in charm bag crafting. So that was kind of cool. And again, lots of good information there on essential oils. I think that's it for the correspondence. Oh, no. He also talks about using animals, and he talks about using like a representation of an animal. Like if you have, for instance, if you're looking to craft a charm bag for cunningness, then you might want to put something fox related in it, because foxes are known for their cunning qualities. So he talks about using things like representations of animals, but also animal bones and other pieces. I know that there are some folks that have kind of almost like a squick factor when it comes to, or an ethical issue with using animal bones, and that's fine. That if that's how you want to run your own practice, that's cool. But it is a very old custom to use parts of animals in spell work and things like that, and if you're okay with it, I don't have an issue with it. To each their own, as long as your bits are ethically harvested. I tend to not really care. So yeah, there's that. And so that takes us through basically page 130, okay? Then you start getting in, and that's here, just to kind of give you a reference point. Then he starts going into recipes for different kinds of charm bags. charm bags for abundance and success, for physical health and balance. What else do we have here? Love and attraction. And what I really enjoy about his recipes is that he will give you in the recipe, I'll kind of show you, see they're a pretty basic kind of setup. So a charm bag to ward off evil. He might tell you like the phase of the moon that's the best to do this. That might not be like the best one. So this says a black bag filled with a piece of cotton, 2 teaspoons of dried yarrow, and a small onyx. Seal the bag and consecrate it on your altar. Carry it with you everywhere to be protected at all times. So he's giving you, yes, he's given all these chapters with this information, but in the recipe, instead of going back and kind of looking through things, he has it all right there. Now, if you didn't have yarrow and wanted to find another protection herb, then, you know, you could go back and look through and see what else you could maybe substitute with. I'm okay with things like that when it comes to spell work, because sometimes we don't have everything on hand, and that's okay, because there's lots of herbs and stones out there that have the same qualities. There's lots of protection herbs, there's lots of protection stones. So there's different things that you can substitute for if you have to. So I do appreciate that. He also has a chapter on harnessing the zodiac, so making some charm bags for specific zodiac signs that I thought was interesting. I didn't actually go through and read every single recipe, so, you know, kind of take that, but I did glance through and read quite a few of them, so I had a sense of what was in the different chapters. And then one thing that I appreciated was that he put together a conclusion that's entitled Believe in Yourself. And I think that for me, especially when I was a young witch, I had a lot of self-doubt. I came into witchcraft with a lot of self-doubt just because of my upbringing. So there was a lot of things that factored into that. So he does a really nice job of kind of bolstering confidence and things like that. So I was very much appreciative of that final chapter. There's a couple of appendixes too. One of them has a poem / prayer called Creed of the Mage that I thought was interesting. It was pretty long, but it was very interesting. And then there's some appendixes for that kind of put things together by intention. So plants for signs of the zodiac, for instance, plants with magical energies, so health, happiness, things like that, just to kind of make things a little bit easier, I think. So if you wanted to look for protection, remember I talked about that recipe called for yarrow. In addition to yarrow, things like basil, clover, garlic, jasmine, St. John's wort, among other things, are also protective plants in nature. So that's kind of nice to have that to look it up by intention. So all in all, I was very impressed by this book. At first, I will admit that I was a little put off by how structured he was with his layout, you know, and saying that, you know, you have to cast a circle every time and you have to do, you know, this kind of a ritual every single time. At first I was a little put off by that. And because the reason being, like I said earlier, sometimes you kind of need something fast. And I think that there's definitely, I've talked about this numerous times, both in public and in videos. I think that there's room at the table for both long version spell work, like the Master Spell series that I work on, and doing instant magic. I've been trained in both and I use both, and sometimes you need something fast, but sometimes if you're working on something that's more needing time, then it's better to take that time. So, you know, take that with a grain of salt. Let's talk let's talk brooms, shall we? I was thinking about, I was thinking about doing 4 brooms, but really, I think that this book's got a lot of great information, and I'm going to go ahead and give it 5 brooms. Like I said, I was a little reticent about the structure at first, but the more I thought about it, the more I realized that, you know, it's okay. If that is the practice that he was brought up in, then, so to speak, brought up in, I don't know if that's that's a good term, I guess. And that's what works with him. Then of course that's what he's going to teach, and there's value in that. So I think that this is all inclusive. If you want to start making charm bags and you don't have any other information as far as plant and stone correspondence and things like that, this really has all the information that you need to start crafting your own charm bags. And so I really, really loved it, and I'm giving it 5 brooms. So that's gonna be it for this video. If you've read this book, then I would love to know, hear about it, hear your opinion, things like that. So put that in the description box below. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you haven't done so already, hit that subscribe button. What are you waiting for, you know? And that's gonna be it. Check out the links below for my Instagram account and for the Facebook page, and like and follow as you know needed. If you want to drop me a note, please feel free to do so at heartofthewitchespath@yahoo.com. I've had a lot of correspondence lately, a lot of people sending suggestions and stuff like that, so know that I'm working on them, and I'll get to each of them as soon as I'm able. Okay, that's going to be it for this video. Thanks for watching, and thanks for taking the time to walk the path for a little while with me. Until next time, blessed be.